My name is Patrick Brett. I am the Future Plans Counselor at Northbound High School. I want to welcome you all to the Future Plans Center and F40's presentation of College Application Night. Do some quick introductions for our speakers tonight, who are the other counselors for the senior home office. Right now, we understand the senior home office is in a little bit of a flux, but we are solidifying that. So in the beginning of the alphabet, letters A through G at the current moment is Mrs. Karen Cantor, who is joining us from our Northbridge Academy. And Mrs. Cantor will be with us for a little bit more time. We do have a counselor who has accepted the position, Miss Holder. We just don't have a start date for her yet. So Mrs. Cantor is filling in. She's doing an awesome job. She's been part of North Penn for a very long time and knows what she's doing. So that's why she was asked to come over and help us out. In the middle of the alphabet, H through N, is Mr. Brandon Turner. Mr. Turner is the veteran of the senior home office. He has been, he actually did my job last year in the Future Plan Center at this time of year when I was out on medical leave. And he is extremely knowledgeable with all of this stuff. And I'm very excited for him to be a senior counselor this year and help us get through this process. And in the bottom part of the alphabet, letters O through Z, is Miss Taylor Escher. Miss Taylor Escher comes to us, just started last week, but she is doing a phenomenal job, and we're very excited to have her with us. She is in for Miss Cobb for the school year. So let's move right along. Let's move into this. I understand this is a scary time for parents. I understand that parents feel that if they don't push their child to get the work done, if they don't push their child to do this, it's not going to get done. And I'm not in your position. I will not be in your position for another 12 school years with my own children. But please, 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 parents, let your child drive this ship. And if they're not, please email me and we can sit down, we can have a conversation to make sure that they take the ownership of this. They become advocates for themselves. One of my biggest pet peeves in this role as the Future Plans Counselor, I have students come down. They say, Mr. Brett, can you help me with my Common App, my application for this school, whatever it may be, my scholarship applications? Absolutely. Sit down, log onto your application, whatever it might be. And they say, hold on, let me text or call my mom and get the password. And as a 16, 17, 18-year-old senior in high school, that student should be taking this ownership on themselves. And we are asking for your help to push that onto them as well. All right, moving along. We are going to go over these topics tonight. We have all of this up here, and you'll notice SCORE being the new elephant in the room, for lack of a better term. We've used Naviance for the past 7 years, I believe, and now we are switching to SCORE, which is a very similar program to Naviance in the sense of document sending for colleges and college applications. But I need you to know that it is extremely more user-friendly for both the students, us as counselors, and the teachers writing letters of recommendation. This was a long, drawn-out process for us to switch programs, and we are very excited to use SCORE starting with this senior class of 2023. So we'll talk about these topics. We'll go into even more than just what's on here, but I just want to lay out a little bit of what the topics might be. Before I go any further, I want to talk about our community college. So Monco or Bucks, depending on where you live, some of our students have the ability to go to Bucks County Community College, but Montgomery County Community College or Bucks County Community College are phenomenal options. If you have already decided that this is your route, then let's hold off on doing all of this stuff and come and see me in January. If it's a possible route, no worries, go through this process, watch all these videos, learn how to do this. But if Monco is your number one, that's where you're going, just hold off. Their application has not even opened for your class. So we can go back in either November, December before winter break, or right after winter break when we come back. You do not need the SATs for Monco. You do not need letters of recommendation unless you are applying to their honors program, which we can discuss again later on in the school year. But if that is your route, I commend you. I think it's one of the most fiscally responsible things you can do as a 17, 18-year-old kid. And if I could go back 19 years ago and say, I'm going to Montgomery County Community College, I could still be sitting in the same exact spot speaking to you about what I'm talking about tonight with a lot less debt. And my wife would like me a lot more. And that's the truth of the reality is that college is extremely expensive. We have an incredible community college right around the corner from us, and it is a great option. I just want to put that out there. I don't work for Monco. I don't get any, anything for saying this, but I think Montgomery County Community College is an incredible option for students who might think that that is their route. If you have those thoughts, please come and talk to me, and we'll get you on the right path. All right, moving along. Ms. Taylor Asher is going to take over our next slide about where the student should be right now.
Good evening, everyone. So as Mr. Brett said, I am Taylor Escher, the new counselor for the seniors. So if you ever need anything, you can reach out to me. I believe our emails are listed at the end of the presentation. So where should you be now? So you would want to have researched and visited a few colleges. If you haven't visited colleges yet, that's okay too. But you want to at least have a list of a couple of schools that you are interested in applying for. You want to have narrowed the list down to about 3 to 7 colleges, including at least 2 safety schools. For the safety schools, your GPA and standardized scores should be above their average, just to be safe on that end. And then for the letters of recommendation, if you do need them, you want to have asked at least 2 teachers for your letters of recommendation. And later on in the presentation, there will also be a video on how to request letters of recommendation, requested teacher letters of recommendation in SCORE. So yeah, so you'll request the letters of recommendation in SCORE, which again will be talked about later in the presentation. And then you will I'm sorry, for the SATs and the ACTs, you want to check to see if the schools test optional, just to see if they're required or not. And then again, with the discussion of college costs with parents or guardians, just to see how to navigate that process as well. And then it's not too late, it's never too late. So some people are just starting this process. Some of you know where you want to go. Some of you might not know where you want to go. Even if you have at least a few schools in mind and you've made a list and you've narrowed it down, that's progress in itself. So please don't panic. Whatever you need to get done, we will get done. So again, we're here for you. If you need anything, just reach out to us. If you need to set up a meeting, we are always open for that. And yeah, so it's never too late.
Great, thank you, Ms. Escher. So one of the big questions here is, how does SCORE work? What do we do with SCORE? You know, we did all this stuff in Naviance over the past couple of years, but now you switched to SCORE on us. So what should you be doing? We're going to try not to read from the slides, but there's so much information that we kind of have to. So the FERPA waiver, you have to sign and release authorization in FERPA waiver. That allows us to send your documentation. I have videos on how to do that in the next slide. All of these things that I have here, the release, the adding schools, requesting letters, and signing up for college representative visits, I have videos for this all in here. And we will also send the videos in a Google Doc. I'm sorry, we will also place the videos in a Google Doc that will be in our future plans canvas, which will be released later this week and sent out to all of the seniors that of the class of 2023. One of the things that parents ask from time to time is, can they get into SCORE? Can they have access to SCORE? This is a new program, as you all know. I'm still kind of getting down to the nitty gritty and that kind of stuff. I know how to send documents, I know how to have students add schools, request letters of recommendation, sign up, all the stuff that's on this sheet or the slide, I apologize. We are looking into the parents having access They've never had access to anything else. If your child can add you as an observer, then that's okay. If it's from the other side where we as the school have to add the parents in, then that's the tech department has said that that's not an option for us right now. There's just too many kids and too many parent emails that we'd have to upload. From Canvas, now when we get our Canvas page, which will have these videos available to our students, and also much more information that we'll show later today. Students can always add their parents in as an observer from Canvas, so we'll be able to do that when we open that Canvas page later this week. Mrs. Borchers, who is our transcript secretary, has been working on that, and she's, besides her everyday just knowledge of the transcript, of the programs that we're using and helping us out, she has been incredible in this technology piece of building a page, and she's really excited to get this out to our senior class to have a one-stop shop for information for our Future Plans Center and what kids need to get for college recommendations. So I want to show that video of in a second, but this is the front page of SCORE. So parents, you can see what it looks like from the student section. This is my account as a student. And I just wanted to show you the front page and what it looks like and what's available to you. So up at the top, you'll be able to see the 3 lines, and that's where you're going to go mostly for all of your information and where to go from here. And yes, I apologize. You can invite a supporter. So a student can invite a supporter as a parent to help you discover colleges. So students, you're allowed to do that. If a parent would like that, please ask your child to do that for you. Okay. All right. First video is going to be of students signing that waiver, that authorization, and the FERPA waiver. I'm going to again discuss that in a second, but a student would log in. I'm going to show several ways of how to get to this. So I showed go to my profile at the top, or you'd be able to go to the 3 lines on the right-hand side, go down to my profile. On the top right-hand side, there is review and sign for both the release of authorization, which allows us to send anything, any document. We can't send anything in this program unless you grant us permission to send any, release your authorization. The second part is the waiver of your rights. Again, we can't, so this one is a little more in depth, which I'll go into in the next slide. But I wanted everybody to see how to do this. So, there we go. So FERPA, besides it being one of the worst acronyms of all time, the FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So what this means is that as a student of any school district, any school in America, but specifically Northbound High School for these students, you have the right to view any of your school documents from K through whatever grade you're in, 12th grade at this point. That includes letters of recommendation. What we ask of students is to fill out the FERPA waiver, and we ask you to waive your right. We cannot tell you to waive your right. We ask you to waive your right. Why are you waiving your right? Is because a teachers, counselors, whomever are going to write a letter of recommendation for you when you request it. When you request a letter of recommendation from someone, that means you're showing that you trust them. That means you're showing they trust they're going to write a letter that speaks to your character, speaks to your work ethic, and speaks to how you did in their class for the teachers, and your character and work ethic and how you are as an individual as the counselor. Waiving your rights means that you as the student do not need to see that letter of recommendation. The counselor, the teacher is going to write that letter, send it directly off to the school. When you waive your rights or decide I don't want to waive my rights, the college can see your answer. So a college looks at it and they said, okay, Patrick Brett waived his rights, not a big deal. We're just going to read it, and we know that it's a 100% accurate letter of recommendation. Say I didn't waive my right, I denied it. The college looks at it and say, why does Patrick Brett need to see his letter of recommendation prior to the teacher sending it or the counselor sending it? Did he need to manipulate it? Did he make sure that everything was accurate? Did he not trust the person who was writing the letter of recommendation? So again, we recommend that you waive your rights. We cannot tell you to waive your rights, but that is a long version of what the FERPA means. So moving right along, this video is the application ID. So in previous years, in other programs, you could connect them. This is how we connect the application. So you would again go to my profile. You would click on the right-hand side into application ID, and you put in your application ID number from the common application or the coalition app, depending on what you're using. There will also be a part to put in your regular website, college website application ID later on. But that's how you do that. Again, these videos will be available once we edit this and send it out to families, and also for our students starting tomorrow. It'll be available, but these videos will be available through the Canvas page at the end of the week. So this video is how you add colleges to your score page. You would go to either My College across the top or the 3 lines, choose My Colleges. And there's several different ways. Suggested are from either counselors or from your parents, if you added them as supporters. Following is school you think you may apply to, but you're not yet sure. So I just showed how you can do it from all 3 ways. So I typed the school in, it populated as I did it. So I was following it. I then decided I was going to apply. So I just dragged it over to my application. I then choose my application method. How do I apply, whether it's Common App, college website, or other. And I had my Common App ID popped up, but I wanted to show you that you could just type it in if it's not in there anyway. I then choose my application type, regular decision, click save, and it's in there. Now, if I want to add another college into applying, or I could drag that Carnegie Mellon over to applied, I type in a school into the program. Again, it populates. I have to choose the correct campus. So for Penn State, you're going to choose University Park. This one, I chose the college website. I typed in the application number on my website. I hit regular decision, I hit save, and there it is. Now, let's say I have a school that I'm applying to and I want to add it to my applied list. I then drag it over, type and make sure everything's correct. My Common App ID is in there, which I believe I forgot in this video, but I put that, yes, I chose a specific major. I chose education. Click on that and click save. And there you go, I've applied. Once you apply, your counselor of record, who at the current moment I believe is me for the beginning and end of the alphabet, and Mr. Turner for the middle, will then get an email of that you have applied, and we know to go in and take care of our part. There we go. So this video is of the college representations visit. So a college representative visit, how to see which colleges are coming and also how to sign up. As of right now, we have I think it's over 35 schools coming, and that's just the beginning. It'll be over 120 by the end of the fall. So as you can see here, when I did this video last week, September 14th, Lafayette was coming, St. John, URI, and Purdue. So I happened to go to the first one and register. I clicked the register button. I could go to view and then see what's going on. And I could use that as my pass to get there if I'm leaving class. If you are signed up, and they're signed up by period. So I have them each by period, not by a 8 o'clock time slot, a 9 o'clock time slot. It's literally when the period starts, a little bit 5 minutes after the period starts, and then it's 5 minutes before the period ends of each 2nd through 7th period. Please, if you are signed up, please go to that period's teacher. Let them know you're there, check in, get marked present, say I have a college visit down in the Future Plan Center. Can I please go? They would give you a pass, or use the 5-star app. You go down and you come down for your visit. Now, 97% of our visits are in the Future Plan Center. Some of them will be down in the Audion or a bigger setting because of our bigger schools that have a lot of students who want to apply. Penn State, Pitt, Temple, for example, and Westchester, for example. We have a lot of kids who apply to those schools, so we usually move them to a bigger setting than the 8 or 9 seats that we have in the Future Plan Center conference room. But that's how you register. I highly recommend registering these visits, especially the smaller private schools. A school like Lafayette's coming, and Mr. Turner's applying, Ms. Cantor's applying, Ms. Escher's applying, and I'm applying. We all have similar similar grade, similar merit, similar applications. 2 of us decide to go. 2 of us do not. When it comes down to it, a small private school is going to look at that and say, those students really didn't want to show their interest. They're not really interested in our school. We're going to give the other 2 the benefit of the doubt who decided to come, even though, they might be a little tiny bit stronger of a student. A couple years back, we had a student from, I believe, another school up in the same area as Lafayette. I'm not going to name the school, but that student had above a 1500 on their SATs. That student was ranked at the time. We did have rank. We do not have rank anymore. You are currently the first class to not have class rank. I will go over that in a split second, but that student was in the top 15 of our class, had above a 1500 on their SATs, did not get into a school that he clearly was, way above their average. He did not get into that school because he didn't go to the visits. He didn't go to the college visits here or visit them on campus at all. And they thought that they were a backup school for him. So they decided not to admit him. Now we called and worked our way to make sure that was changed, but please show up for these visits. Please make sure that you are showing your interest in the school. When you get on campus to visit the school, make sure someone knows you're there, either register prior to or get into the admissions office and fill something out. Please make sure that they know you're there. Same thing when you come for a visit in the Future Plan Center. And also when we have a college fair on October 11th, which I will reference again later on in the presentation. Quickly, since I talked about class rank, we no longer have class rank, and for a good reason. We have found that anybody outside of top 10 in the class, not 10%, top 10 in the class, was hurt by class rank. We had students with a 5.5, 5.3 GPA who unfortunately were ranked in the middle of our class, like 400 to 600 in our class, not getting to Penn State because of their class rank, not their GPA. So we decided to get rid of it. It was put in place 3 years ago. We phased out the other classes, and now your class is the current class to start without class rank, which we hopefully will continue for good. So moving right along, this next video is how to put your activities and achievements into score. So you would go to my profile, scroll down to activities and achievements, click on add a new, very similar to the resume part of Naviance. Put in your information and it populates. Now, teachers can see this, we can see this, and you can also have it in your score as a reference for yourself as well. Not going to bore you, but with even I put some more stuff in there, but very similar to what Naviance did. And if you have any questions, again, please just pop down to the Future Plan Center and I'll help you out with this. Move on to the next slide. I think there we go. Okay, now at this point in time, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Brandon Turner, who is going to talk about the college application.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brett, and hello, class of 2023. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We're going to go over the college application and some of the parts that go along with that. So there are a few different ways to apply. One of the main ways you can see, you have going to the college website or going to the Common App. That would be commonapp.org, or also the Coalition. The Coalition is another app out there that you can use. When it comes down to it, you're going to need your transcript, you're going to need test scores, sometimes a counselor recommendation. That does depend on the school. Teacher and counselor recommendations can really vary, but you can see why Mr. Brett went over some of those things, like a resume, like who you should be talking to. A lot of this comes right back for your portion of the application, or at least one portion. All right, so you can see there's three real main ways that people apply. The Common App is a great way. You can see 900 schools that are participating in that app. It is a great way to kind of consolidate your applications, put all of your information into one space. and then be able to apply as you come up with schools. So if you're interested, you go to the commonapp.org, you create a Common App, and then it really pays to just type in schools that you're interested in and see if they're on there. If you find 2, 3, 4 schools that are on that common application, it might really just save you time in filling out the application and getting those out to schools. There are parts for each college, and that's something that Mr. Brett or myself or somebody in the home office could really go over with you, but it is a pretty straightforward process. The Coalition application is another app kind of similar to the Common App. You'll see some more private schools on here. It doesn't have nearly as many schools participating, but it is something that you could use to apply. And then individual college applications, that's going to be when you go to a college website. You go to bloomsburg.edu, find there where to apply and kind of apply straight through that application. Big thing for all 3 of these, as far as we're concerned at the school, is when you submit an application, no matter kind of if it's Common App or Coalition or individual school, you just need to get that school into your score so that we know that that's where you're applying, and then we can get your transcript and other documents out too. So you can see what you're going to need is, you're going to need your personal information. You will need a social security number. I think that's a big one that kind of pops out on there. So that's talk to mom or dad, get that information. But like Mr. Brett said, take ownership in this process. It's definitely for you and really affects you more than anybody else. An appropriate personal email. We say that because, a non-school email, something that you check, then that you can continue to use maybe in the summer or in other areas after you maybe graduate North Penn and don't have access to your North Penn email. So it's good to have a personal email, appropriate. So make it something professional or something simple, just name, first name, last name, favorite number. Can be as easy as that. And like everything, I think, guys, when it comes to life right now, write down usernames and passwords and save yourself the frustration of resetting your password every time you try to log on to your Common App. All right, so different types of admissions. I think this is a huge part of applying and taking ownership in your kind of college process, is deciding how you want to apply. So first you're going to pick out, am I going to use the Common App? Am I going to go to a school's website? But you also, when you're doing that process, you really want to be looking at the admission deadlines and how kind of each one works for schools. So rolling admissions there's no real deadline, but they want those applications. It pays to get them in sooner rather than later. It's the type of thing. So Pitt is a rolling admission school. If you're applying to Pittsburgh in October, the applicant pool that you're going against is much smaller than what you're going against when you apply maybe in February. So that just affects kind of how you're going to get in and how strenuous it might be. So it does pay to apply early rolling admission, but you can do it all throughout the application process. Regular decision is kind of your most straightforward. Those are usually like a January 1st, some are in March. But that's where it's just going to be, they're going to pull those applications until the deadline and then start to review. Early action and early decision are 2 big ones. And they are similar, but very different in one real specific way. Early action is going to happen early on in the process, usually November 15th, sometimes November 1st, December 1st. But it is not binding. So you can apply to schools early action. And, if you get into your dream school early action, but you get into another school that's almost as good and they give you more money down the road or through scholarships, you can decide that between the 2. That non-binding nature really makes a difference there. You can see there are some restrictive early action deadlines out there. That's going to get more into that early decision realm, but that's where you would apply to a school, and then they would basically, you're signing an agreement saying you're not applying anywhere else, early action or early decision. So it's not binding, but it still kind of restricts your movement as you're applying to different schools and looking at this stuff. And so finally, early decision, these are usually November 1st, and they are binding, which means if you apply early decision, you're signing a contract, you're having a conversation with your counselor, and then we're signing, and we're basically all agreeing that if you get into this school, you're going to go. That can sound like a great thing. It can sound like it's going to improve your the percentage of you getting in it, and it may, but it also comes with that binding nature where you have to pay then. The financial aspect of it comes back into play. And there are some complications that you can get into with that. So we're not saying don't, decide to go early decision. We're really just saying, make sure you know what you're doing. Look into it, ask somebody about it, have a conversation with your parents, with somebody you trust, with a counselor, and make that decision kind of knowing the ramifications that are out there. All right, so when should I apply? I think all of us as counselors would kind of say the earlier the better. You get it off your plate. It allows you to kind of enjoy that senior year a little bit more, but it also gives you a chance to get your decisions back sooner, to know your options, and to then maybe start to choose what you might want to do next. So we say if a safe deadline is kind of aimed for before Thanksgiving, but you always want to be looking at your school and kind of what's specific to you. A lot of them won't start. A lot of schools are just now starting to accept applications. This is going to be from here to December is really going to be a kind of hot time for applications, but move at your own pace, know your deadlines, and try to act as early as you can. But, do your research as well. Definitely think though, earlier you apply, the sooner you find out, and the sooner you can kind of relax and look at what's next in senior year, or start to tackle the scholarship or the money side of the college process. And like it says there, definitely go down, have a talk with Mr. Brett. If you don't know when, where, how, kind of where to start with this process, or if you have a great idea, whatever it might be, a great resource, you can go down and just have somebody to talk to and help you with that stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Now, Mrs. Cantor is going to talk about our transcript.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Mrs. Cantor. At this point, I'm hoping most of your children have seen their transcript. A lot of times as counselors, when we're doing course selection for the following school year, we'll have this in front of us to review the wonderful job they've done, or where there might be some gaps that we're trying to fill as we plan the schedule for next school year. So you will see the GPA on there. You will see all the courses that they have completed, as well as the courses that they're currently taking. So here we've zoomed in just a little bit so you can see that in grade 12, which your students are in, they have the courses listed, but no completion grade yet. If at some point after you've submitted the transcript to your school and you've made any changes to your schedule and the courses that you're taking, you will need to notify the school of any change, because they're basing what you're taking and completing off of the transcript that we had sent earlier in the school year. But you can see 9th, 10th, and 11th grade is all filled in with courses and grades. 12th grade just has what you are currently taking. So when we go in order to upload these, so we know where you're applying and who's going to be receiving your transcript, we're going to send out a link to show you how to release your transcripts to your school. That'll be part of the Canvas page when we release that later this week. And we have a video coming to show you. So once you have clicked on the link, you'll be asked to include your name, first and last, your student ID, as well as the college that you want us to send the transcript to, how you're applying, the deadline. And you can do this for up to 3 colleges or universities within the link. If you are applying to more than 3, all you need to do is, when you are finished and submit the Google form, go back in, click on the link again, and fill it out for your 4th, 5th, 6th school. Do the link as often as you need to in order to get all of your colleges uploaded into the Google form.
Thank you, Mrs. Cantor. Now, Mr. Turner will talk about the SRAR.
All right, everybody. So SRAR is self-reported academic record. This really comes into play where a school, if they are an SRAR school, they're asking you to copy that information from your transcript that we just looked at and put it into their self-reporting portal. There is a way to self-report in Common App. Not every school uses the Common App. You will see in the Common App when you have an application, if you're applying to certain schools, it'll actually tell you at the section where you can enter course grades, which school require that through the Common App or require it at all. Some schools like Penn State, University of Pittsburgh, Temple, I believe, are SRAR schools, but they use a separate portal. So you apply to those schools and then you get an email basically giving you your credentials to log in and to put your self-reported record in. So it says right there, request a transcript from Mr. Brett, Ms. Borchers, a counselor if you need, or stop into F17 during the day and get yourself a transcript if you need this. You definitely want to have that so you can look back and see all of your grades in front of you, and then are able to put them in or copy them to whatever database you need. All right. So test scores, SATs, ACTs, you can see some dates there. And for the most part, we, up here, most students take the SATs. I think that's the majority. There has been a rise in students that take the ACTs. They're very similar tests. I think the big thing for you guys to know looking at this college application process is a lot of schools are SAT optional now. With the last couple of years of COVID, that has been something that's kind of changed in education. It may continue, it may not, but at least for this year, schools are SAT optional, and they at least tell us when their reps come in that they try to hold to that. So look at the school that you're applying to, review kind of what their metrics are, where their SAT scores or averages fall, and then make your own decisions about whether you're going to send them or not. And that's another thing, talk with a counselor, talk with Mr. Brett, if you are on the borderline or if you're not unsure in that way. Now, all SAT scores, you can see they're not listed on the transcript, and we do not send them. So you can't ask us to send your SAT scores. We physically are not able to. You have to go through College Board. The same way that you went to sign up for the SATs is where you send them. If you literally search in College Board how to send SATs or send my SATs, it'll take you to the right spots there where you can kind of click through. You just have to read that and go. But you do want to know you get 4 free, and then they do start to charge you. So think about those 4 that you want to send to. Try to get them on your list right away. You can put them in your College Board account and when you're registering. But know that if you're doing over 4, you do have to, there is a fee. So you kind of have to look at that, and always know with SATs, they will make you pay if you miss a deadline. They will make you pay if you sign up late. They will let you register all the way up until kind of the last minute, but the price will always increase. So try to get that stuff in early and plan for that. All right, so another thing, requesting letters of recommendation. So this is a big one. We always get a ton of questions here. And Mr. Brett has kind of touched on some of these. Like, you really should ask teachers who know you. Ask teachers who you did well in their class, you have a relationship with, maybe you have for a coach or for a club or something else as well. But you want people who can speak to your academic ability, your character, and who can put a letter in that is going to be the thing that might help you get into that school that you've always wanted to. Classes you did well, and definitely if it's a major or an intended major or a field of study in college, it can help to get a letter from them as well, or from a teacher, where if I want to go into pre-med, maybe I get a biology letter. That usually can really make a strong imprint on admissions. So requesting, all of your requests are going to go through SCORE this year. We'll have a video that's going to kind of show this stuff, but you go to My Colleges section. There's a little tab there that says Application Documents. Letters of recommendation are under there. So when we talk about how many, I personally think 2 is the perfect amount. I think for most schools will not require more than 2. Excuse me. Some will require 1, and some, like the University of Pittsburgh, don't require any. It's a reason that I was accepted into the University of Pittsburgh. So you want to look into this, get 2 letters if you know that there are schools out there that you want to send a letter to, but look at the schools before you go and you get 5 or 6 letters, because there is a chance that a school will only take 1. So you don't want to kind of spend extra effort on your part or on teachers' parts. If you're applying to Temple and they only accept 1 letter of recommendation, then no matter how great the 5 you have are, you can't send them all. So it does pay to kind of look into that beforehand, so you're working smarter and not harder in a way. And that's on the college's website. All right. And I believe here we have a video I alluded to. So if we're looking for letters of recommendations, you can see 2 spots there. My Colleges, application documents. And then you want to request a letter. You're going to type your teacher's name in or the recommender's name in there. You can see Miss Brett, awesome math teacher here. So we like to put in a message, you want to let them know kind of as a reminder what this is for, but make sure that you're emailing that teacher before, make sure that you're stopping in, talking to the teacher before you even get to this part, before you get into score. You want to have that okay from the teacher, have that understanding that they're going to write you the letter. And then this link and this friendly reminder is kind of the last thing they're getting in terms of your recommendation request. All right, counselor letter recommendation. So a couple big things here. There is a difference, right? Your counselor letter and your teacher letters are different. They exist in kind of 2 different worlds as 2 distinct parts of your application. The thing for the counselor letter, which is similar to your teacher letters, is not every school needs it, but some schools do require. Sometimes it's written like a counselor evaluation or like a secondary staff evaluation. But if it is required, your counselor will write you one. Our process for this is going to be for you guys to go through that counselor recommendation request form. I believe Ms. Cantor kind of took us through it step by step. You're going to just put in your information, and then your counselor will be able to use that information to help write that letter, write the best letter recommendation possible for you. I think in this, at least for me, an academic resume is a great resource too. So I'm okay if you send the request form, or if you put in the request form, I have a great resume, I'm just going to send that to you and see. That's good too. At least get your counselor something. And I totally understand. As far as counselors go, we at this class have had some change. I've been here for a half year, you guys, all kind of course selection. And then we have a couple new faces who are going to be in. So if you feel like you don't know your counselor, or you want to get to know them better, you want them to know you so they can write the best letter possible, make a meeting with them. Stop into the home office, talk to us about where you want to go and why. Give us some more information that we don't know about you to help us kind of write the best letter possible. Because we understand in this circumstance, we haven't had 3 years to maybe get to know each other and have a background. It doesn't mean that we can't write a great letter and we can't do things that will still help you guys get into school. And that's what we're here for. So stop in sometime, get to meet us, stop in and talk to Mr. Brett, and we'll go from there. And we'll get these letters of recommendation done for you guys. Oh, and you can see here, so maybe I misspoke and we went through the other ones. Counselor recommendation request, put your name, email address, the schools you're applying to. Big thing there is the early decision. You want to let us know that because we do have to sign a form. words to describe you, extracurriculars, leadership, a lot of the different things that you're looking for. And we just want to know, like, what are some ways that we can best describe to whoever we're talking to, wherever this letter is going, how awesome of a student you are and how much growth you've had while you've been at North Penn.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. So right now, I want to talk about the essay, a very anxiety-riddled part of the application. What do you write? How long should it be? Is it good enough? Yes. The answer is yes, it is good enough. How long should it be? I believe Common App allows, I think it's 650 characters. So make sure that you're putting it in and seeing how big how long your essay is. Does it fit if you're using Common App? But the most important part is to make sure that you separate yourself from the person who has read prior to you and the person who is going to be read after you. So make sure you talk about you. Make sure you talk about your passions. Make sure you talk about your why. Why do you want to go to that school? And when you write that, don't make it, well, I just loved watching football games of Penn State growing up. No, make sure you talk about a program, a specific program they have, what you can do on their campus, something you like that they do differently than other schools. If you're going into a specific major like nursing, talk about why you want to go into nursing. What in your life has driven you into that specific major? If it is, again, I'll use nursing, but if it is nursing, why? Did you have a family member who went through some medical situation that you saw an incredible nurse that drove your passion to do that? Are you doing a program in school currently right now to help you find a career and you furthered your passion for that career? Make sure that you're writing something that is going to stand out. Make sure you're writing something that is going to show who you are as an individual. If you want me to read your essay, please feel free. I will do so. But first, you need to put it on a Google Doc, write it in a Google Doc, and share it with me. Always start in a Google Doc or some form of outside writing ability, as opposed to just starting right in the Common App or the space that a school provides you on the application. We want to make sure that we're writing it, we're able to edit it, we're able to see what we've spelled wrong, what might not be proper English. Share it with your English teacher if that's something that they might be able to do. Ask them first, but share it with your English teacher. I am great, and I know I sound a little pompous saying I'm great in the sense of knowing what colleges want to see in a essay. I am not the person to go to for grammatical errors. I may make it worse. So please go to an English teacher, go to a parent, something along those lines, of someone who you know and you trust from the grammatical side, but I will read it for what colleges want to see. Okay, and also, if it says it's optional in my eyes and in our eyes in the guidance department, and in their eyes as the college representatives, it is required. Please do it. Okay, you've probably written it for another school anyway, write it for that school as well. Some schools will have extra essays in their Common App as opposed to just the Common App prompt. So they'll have Common App prompts, 5 of them, you can choose from one, and then you would then go to the school in the Common App and it has other supplemental essays that you'll have to write. Again, they go with your application. They do not go with score 99% of the time unless you are applying through score, which I think there's like, less than 5% of schools are actually able to apply through score. If you are applying through score, come see me. We'll talk through it and we'll make sure that we know together how to get through that. Okay. Moving along, I want to go review some of the steps. We talked about all this. Fill out the transcript release form in Google. We can't send anything until you do that because we want to make sure on our end we're keeping track. We don't want anyone slipping through the cracks. Yes, you can put it into score, but we want to make sure that we are getting everyone accounted for and we have back up to the SCORE platform and make sure that we don't miss anyone. Complete your applications, that's paramount. Request your teacher letters of recommendation and SCORE, send testers through test scores through College Board or ACT as Mr. Turner alluded to, and also review the college website for any additional things like the SRAR that Mr. Turner talked about, possible an interview, an audition if it's musical or theatrical, and even more stuff. But make sure you're doing your due diligence, doing your research. If we have students who are applying or who want to play a sport in college, Division I or Division II level, you must register on the NCAA Eligibility Center. Just type in NCAA Eligibility Center in Google. There's a $95 fee. And they would just want to make sure that you've never taken money, that you still have amateur status as an athlete. You must send it through College Board or ACT. The code is 9999, or just search NCAA Eligibility Center. Once you do this, once you register, please come down to the Future Plan Center, to my office, K31, and let me know, or shoot me an email saying, I just registered on the NCAA Eligibility Center. Can you please send your transcript? I will send your transcript twice. When you first register to the NCAA Eligibility Center, and also to your final, I will send your final transcript to the NCAA Eligibility Center once you graduate. So we will also do this with all colleges. You do not have to request that a second time. That goes when you let us know what colleges you're going to at the end of the school year when you take the senior survey in May. But I will also send it not only to your college, but the NCAA Eligibility Center if you've registered. Also, if you think you want to be an NCAA athlete and you want to get recruited, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm a coach here at North Penn. I coached basketball for a long time. I'm back with the baseball program after being out with a medical issue for a little bit. So please come down to my office if you want to talk recruiting. I have letters that we can tailor to your own needs to send to a coach, and we can figure out how to get a video of you playing if that's something you choose. Okay. Scholarship resources and opportunities. They're right here. We want to make sure you guys know that we don't, as the guidance department, sponsor any scholarships. Most scholarships are going to be given by the college. Yes, there are little scholarships here and there that might go unused, left-handed, descendant of someone who's Nordic. I'm making that up, but stuff like that gets told like, oh, these go unused. Yes and no. There's a couple great sites that we have. It says see links below. This is from our page that is going to be published on Canvas. Again, at the end of the week when we create our Canvas Future Plan Center page. But one of the main things is do not sign up or submit a scholarship that has you paying any money. That is a scam. Please don't do that. But scholarship resources will be available as they come into North Penn. So for instance, Dunkin' Donuts always emails us and says, hey, we have the Dunkin' Donuts National Scholarship. So we'd have that available on our Canvas scholarship page. Other things like that will come in to us by happenstance because they know that we're a high school. They'll send it to us and we'll populate it. There will also be what's called senior awards that would be emailed to the senior class in February, but that is outside of our realm as the guidance department. That's taken care of by the administration, and outside community members sponsor those awards. Very important dates to remember. We have virtual back to school night on the 22nd. We have the Fafsa form that opens up on October 1st for your senior class. It would be the 2023-2024 Fafsa because that's when they would be freshmen. And that is the free application for federal student aid. You need to complete that. Both the student and the parent need to complete that to make sure that you would be able to receive financial aid from our government for the freshman school year. And then you would fill it out each year moving forward. We are hosting the SATs at NPHS on October 2nd. We have our PACAT College that I mentioned earlier, October 11th. That will be in both gyms of North Penn High School. We will have over 150 schools represented and a few vendors for SAT help and essay help, and then also the SATs at North Penn High School on November 6th. When am I available? During study halls, lunches, and after school. I am also available for appointments upon request for families. And when I say families, I mean the senior, your child has to be present for me to meet with parents. I don't want to sound mean. I will not meet with parents without the senior. because it is their future and they need to be part of this conversation. So you can set up meetings. Typically they're Wednesday afternoons starting 2:15, and they go either to, I have my last appointment either at 4:15 or 5:15, depending on what's going on and when I'm available. But yes, after school availability, 2:15, 3:15, 4:15, and possibly 5:15 throughout the school year on Wednesdays. So some frequently asked questions. I know there's a ton of questions up here in the chat bar. I've been trying to answer them as we go through. I want to answer these ones first, and then we'll go from there. What GPA scale does Northbound High School use? We use a weighted 6.0 scale. Please always put the weighted 6.0 scale into your application. And when it says rank, pardon me, when it says rank, please choose none. We do not rank anymore. Please choose the response none, which is the last response available in the Common App question for your class rank. That was a bunch of the questions in our Q&A section of the Zoom link. What does it mean when a school uses a weighted 4.0? So they take our 6.0 weighted and they calculate it into a weighted 4.0. So it does not match up to our 4.0 exactly. It's close, but it's not. It's actually a little higher. Sometimes I have schools call me and say, "Hey, Mr. Brett, I need a weighted 4.0 on so-and-so, on Mr. Turner. If he has above a 3.75, we will give him more money." So I say, great, let me do some math. I hang up the phone, or I don't respond to their email right away. I wait a little bit and I send them an email, or I call them back and say, what do you know? Mr. Turner has a 3.76. He qualifies for your money. I'm going to do anything I can to get our students more money. But if they calculate themselves, then that's their calculation. Colleges are pretty stringent on not releasing their calculation and how they get it. I've asked Temple more times than I can count, and they will not give it to me. There's a few calculators online. I have a calculator that I can give, but I can't guarantee it's 100% accurate of what the colleges are going to do themselves. They weight classes based on what they see fit, and other schools that they have a lot of students applying to, they use some of their weighted scales in the 4.0. When can you fill out the Fafsa? Again, it opens up on October 1. It's fafsa.ed.gov. Please don't go to a site where you have to pay money. It's fafsa.ed.gov. We are hoping to have a FAFSA completion night, either in person or virtually. I'm waiting to hear back from FIA, Mr. Michael Burke, who's phenomenal. Just waiting to hear back from him as to what date we can do that. I'm looking for late October or early November. What is the CSS profile? That is a form for financial aid form for private schools. It's found on College Board. They make sure that you fill that out for those private schools that are requiring it. What is FIA? It's Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Association. They give money to freshmen who are from the state of Pennsylvania going to college. It's typically $1,500. Please fill it out. Please accept it. And again, they would do a free FAFSA completion night for us. Speaking of financial aid, in the past, we've always held a financial aid night. We are planning to do so, but in a little different manner this year. We'd like to bring in a financial aid representative from a college who would then give a full gamut of what they do, what they're looking for, how to access it, possibly help with a FAFSA completion night as well. And then we bring in some vendors outside that might be able to help you if you so choose. I'm not a financial aid guy. I don't even do the own finances in my own house. So please ask even your own financial aid person, or for your own person who handles your finances. If you use an outside agency, ask them first before going into somebody else who might charge you to take a look at your finances and take a look at the FAFSA. All right, there's a couple questions up here. There's a bunch of questions you go through here. Can we use any counselor? Do we need to go to the counselor who's assigned to us? Typically, you should go to the counselor assigned to, but with that being said, I have the availability to write some letters of recommendation. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to write all of them, but Mr. Turner, he's a counselor of record from H through N, Ms. Escher through O through Z, and then when we get Ms. Holder in the building, she'll be from A through G. And please talk to them, as Mr. Turner said. Please go and talk to them, get to know them, have them get to know you, and then we go from there. And we can write about you and what separates you and why we think you're a great student, why we think that college should accept you. Can we send your Naviance downloaded portfolio rather than starting over in Score? If you can still get in Naviance, absolutely. If you need us to get in Naviance and take screenshots, I can do that. It's very tedious, but I will try my best to help out those who need to. It's not unless you created a PDF of your resume. It's me taking screenshots of different parts of the pages I go down and sending it to you in picture form. But if you created a PDF, then great, I'll be able to just download that and send that to you. So when requesting teacher letters of rec, do you need to request one for each college or just in general? Typically just in general. If you have questions for each college, specific ones, only request one letter of rec, please come see me and we'll talk it through and I'll show you how to do that. How do I unlink my Common App and Naviance? Come down and see me, we'll take a look at that. Counselor recommendation, please go see your counselor of record and then you come and see me afterwards. The counselor, the form, so the forms we talked about, they will be in the Canvas page for the Future Plan Center, which will be released at the end of the week. That answered about 6 questions right there. The SAT date corrections. The SATs, I apologize, they were last year's dates. November 1st and 11/5, November 5th. I apologize. I had to write on the one form, but not the second form. Or, I'm sorry, the one slide that Mr. Turner read from, and not the slide that I read from. Is it required to do the FAFSA? No, but just know that they're not going to give you any financial aid, and some colleges make you do it. So some colleges make you, but majority of colleges do not. Mrs. Escher's email will be next on this page. Teachers are going to have a training available to them within the next couple of days on how to write the letters of recommendation. And so there is going to be, so the question is, when you apply, does the application specifically ask for extracurricular activities? Yes. All applications will ask for extracurricular activities. So please put them into the application. I see a few hands raised. I don't know how to access that.
I can help you out.
I don't know if they can talk. I don't know how to actually Ms. Fakish, go ahead. I don't know.
Okay, so how this will work is if you're still there, Adelo, I apologize if I said your name wrong. I'm going to unmute your mic and then you may ask your question to Mr. Brett. So go ahead.
Hello, thank you so much. I am grateful for this opportunity and thank you so much for the information. My question is regarding my son. I am on a religious visa and I have my social security, but for him, he does not have the social security right now until we have a permanent residence. So I don't know what to do right now. When the other man was talking about the qualification for the application to the college, he says,
okay,
so number is key.
Yeah,
Yep,
so Mr. Brett's going to answer.
So thank you for your question, and I'm glad you're thankful for this opportunity. One thing, just shoot me an email. We'll work on that. There is a way. There is absolutely a way, but just do me a favor and shoot me an email. If the questions are general questions for the betterment of the group, and I should have said that earlier, please use those questions. If it's a specific question for your child, please make sure that you shoot me an email and I'll be able to answer that, okay?
So Richard Desmond, again, if this is a child-specific question, Mr. Brett does ask you to email him. So if this is a general question, please ask your question when I allow you to talk. Hang on one second. Okay, Mr. Desmond, you may begin. Are you there? You have to unmute your mic. You're muted. There you go.
Okay, my question was on the weighted versus unweighted GPA. did you, I may have misunderstood this. Did you say when submitting the GPAs to the school on their college application to use the unweighted or the weighted?
Please use the weighted, and again, it's a 6.0 scale. We want to use the weighted scale out of 6.0.
Okay, Mr. Red, there's one more hand, and I'll say this might be your last hand, okay?
Sounds great.
So Tanya, you may begin asking your question. You have to unmute your mic.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay. Hi, I wanted to know if you have a recommendation from someone that's not a teacher at the school, what's the process for doing that?
So if it's not at the school, so for instance, some of our coaches in the district are not teachers. If they're going to write a letter of recommendation, if they're a coach in our district, they should have an email address that's North Penn. Please let me know and I'll add them to SCORE. We uploaded the teacher roster and not the coaches roster. If coaches need to, that are, again, not teachers, but coaches in our district, I will add them. If it's somebody outside of that, please have that recommender email the recommendation directly to me, and I will handle that from there. I will upload it and get it in. And just 2 more questions. Again, if it's specific, there's a couple of specific questions in here. Just shoot me an email and I will respond to that email tomorrow when we get back in the office. How far back should a resume go? Please put 9th grade and then all the way through, because 9th grade you were technically in high school, and the scholarship links will be available in the Canvas page. For our students that again we'll send out at the end of the week. And the last question that we're going to answer tonight is, will students know in advance what schools are attending the October College Fair? Yes, we will have a list of that hopefully by the end of the month, if not sooner, and we will post that on the Canvas page. Thank you all very, very much for your attention, for your time, I appreciate everything that you've asked, all the questions, appreciate your student, your children, and their desire to want to do whatever it is they want to do after North Penn High School. Please bear with us through this new program and bear with us through the adding new people, the changing of counselors. Please, if you have any questions, please let me know. Just shoot me an email and we will go from there. The best way to contact me is via email. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to answer the phone during the school day. My office is set up like a resource center where students are popping in and popping out, and having their computer up and me going around and working with them individually or as a group with questions. So please shoot me an email. I will do my best to respond to them in a day or two, but please, any questions, just shoot me an email. We're all here to work for the betterment of your children, and that's what our goal is, and we'll do the best of our ability in that aspect. Please. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, and we look forward to working with you. Take care.